Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the game preview ahead of Everton's Premier League fixture against Norwich City at Goodison Park tomorrow. 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. It's been a long time since those words come out of my mouth. I think it was Brighton before the international break was the last time we had a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. I cannot wait to get back to Goodison Park, even after our 2 defeats on the bounce, of course, to Aston Villa in the Premier League last weekend and QPR in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. I'm still massively looking forward to getting back to Goodison Park, and it's imperative tomorrow afternoon that Everton bounce back. It really is. We're coming up against the Norwich side, who obviously haven't had the greatest of starts to the season. 5 games, 5 defeats, minus 12 goal difference, a couple of heavy defeats in there as well. So it is absolutely imperative that Everton turn up and, like I said, bounce back with 3 points tomorrow. A really important 3 points as well. We know we've still got a lot of injuries within the squad that we'll go on to talk about a little bit later on in the live stream. Rafa Benitez has had his pre-game press conference earlier today ahead of tomorrow's game, and he has confirmed that we are still without a number of first team players, but we have got a couple of players back as well, which is a massive positive ahead of this really important game. I wouldn't say it was a crucial game for Rafa Benitez. I know there's some Evertonians out there that would disagree. There's some Evertonians out there that would say that, you know, if we don't win this game, then they want him sacked or they want the manager out and this, that and the other. I think it's far too early to be talking about anything like that. I think it's far too early on in the season. I think it's far too early on in Rafa Benitez's tenure as Everton manager to be talking about moving on or getting rid of him, regardless of the result tomorrow. However, it will be unacceptable for Everton to come away from tomorrow's game with anything less than 3 points, and that is no disrespect to Norwich whatsoever. Norwich are in search of their first Premier League victory in I think 16 games, something like that. Like I said, haven't won a game, haven't picked up a point all season, minus 12 goal difference. They have had some difficult games, to be fair, playing Manchester City, Liverpool, Leicester, Arsenal as well, all within the space of the opening few weeks of the season. So it's not like they've had the easiest of runs, and Norwich will obviously be coming to Goodison Park in search of that win. They'll be coming to fight, they'll be coming to battle, they'll be coming to try and pick up their first 3 points of the season, because there's a lot of people talking about Norwich as almost sort of guarantees to go back down, and they're a really sort of strange team, Norwich, because they're quite clearly better than anybody in the Championship, and they've proven that on a number of, you know, seasons coming up comfortably, you'd say, and being promoted from the Championship. But they don't seem to be as good as a lot of teams in the Premier League. They seem to be better than Championship quality, but maybe not quite Premier League quality. It's that rather sort of strange in between for Norwich, but that doesn't mean that Norwich will go an entire season, you know, not picking up a point. They'll win games this season, they'll draw games, they'll pick up points, and I'm sure they'll shock people. And I just hope that Everton aren't the team that Norwich fans look back on tomorrow night and go, that was our first win in 15-16 games, or at the end of the season when we're talking about Norwich going down or staying up, they say, yeah, well, we beat Everton at you know, Goodison Park, and that was the first points we got of the season. I just hope Everton go out and, you know, do what every other team has done this season and turn up against Norwich, put a really professional performance in and win the game comfortably, because ultimately that's what Everton have got to do for ourselves. We're coming off the back of 2 defeats on the bounce now, and what's been, to be honest, a good start to the season. Seeing people on social media and Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that talking about how it hasn't been a good start to the season, how it's been poor and this, that and the other. I actually think it's been a really good start to the season. Yes, going out in the Carabao Cup to QPR on Tuesday was awful, and it was one of the worst Everton performances we've witnessed in a long time, but disregarding that, even including the defeat to Aston Villa last weekend, we had a mad, you know, 10-15 minutes of absolute madness where we were just making mistake after mistake after mistake. But for the first half in that game, I thought we managed the game really well. And then for the last 25 minutes, half an hour, Aston Villa weren't really putting any pressure on us, probably because they'd already scored 3 goals and they'd comfortably won the game. But we had a period of 10-15 minutes in that game where everything just sort of fell to bits, and we completely capitulated. And I'm not saying that that's acceptable, I'm not saying I'm happy with that, but it wasn't like we were absolutely dreadful for the entirety of the game. For the first half, we weren't actually too bad, certainly considering we had 4, 5, 6 first team players out injured. And then obviously beforehand, you know, we'd beaten Southampton after going a goal down, beating Burnley as well after a poor first half last time out at Goodison Park, obviously beating Brighton away. Brighton's only defeat of the season, coming to Everton away at obviously the Amex, drew at Leeds. So I don't particularly think it's been a bad start to the season whatsoever. I really don't. Now, obviously, this is a really important game tomorrow, and like I said, Everton absolutely have to beat Norwich. They have to beat Norwich, and it's no disrespect to this Norwich side, but if Everton are a team that want to be seen as serious challenges for European football, or serious challenges at the top end of the table, if Everton want to be looked at anything more than just mid-table mediocrity, a side that just hover around the mid-table places and don't really do much, and that's what we are at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's not where we are. That's exactly where we are. We are the definition of bang mid-table mediocrity. However, if Everton want to be looked at as not that team, as a team that are actually serious about, challenging to try and get into the European positions and actually doing something this season and making something of ourselves. Obviously, we've just gone out in the Carabao Cup, so that's that out the window. We've got the FA Cup to compete in, but that's obviously growingly more and more difficult every year. We're not going to win the Premier League, so it's games like tomorrow where we have to turn up and we simply have to show Norwich that we have better quality players than they have, and we're a better side than they are, even with 2 defeats on the bounce, even with a little bit of, I don't want to say discontent in the fan base, but I'll say the ship's shaking a little bit at the moment. If we lose tomorrow, or if we don't pick up all 3 points, there will be a lot of Evertonians. I don't even want to log on to Twitter if we don't win tomorrow, or go on to, I can't even begin to imagine some of the comments we'll get on the instant match reaction, or some of the tweets we'll get, because there'll be a lot of Evertonians that use the fact that Rafa Benitez is the Everton manager as an excuse to say, that's it, you can't lose to Norwich, get him out, this, that and the other. And he's not going to be sacked, and he shouldn't be sacked, because we're 4 games into a new Premier League season, so it would make no sense whatsoever, 5 games in, whatever we are. But I agree to the extent that we simply have to win this game. We have to win this game. It's must win in regards to the fact that Norwich are bang bottom of the table, haven't won a Premier League game for 15, 16 fixtures, something like that. 5 losses out of 5 so far in the Premier League. We'll run through some of them then, because like I said, they haven't had the easiest start to the season. Norwich, to be fair, they've faced some decent sides. So obviously started the season a game against Liverpool. Liverpool always seems to get a newly promoted side on the opening game of the season. I think they won 3-0 on that afternoon. They then obviously went to Manchester City and were victims to a 5-0 defeat to Manchester City. Again, Everton lost 5-0 to Manchester City at the end of the season. You don't really look too much at that result. Obviously, they went to Leicester and lost 2-1 there. Again, in a close game. Lost at Arsenal 1-0. Lost at Watford last week 3-1 in the Premier League as well. The Watford game is probably the first game you looked at and sort of thought they should have been doing better in that game. Maybe Arsenal, because Arsenal were in poor form, but certainly the Watford game, you would be thinking that Norwich would be putting a bit more of a challenge up in that one. Obviously lost to Liverpool midweek in the Carabao Cup, but did have a big 6-0 win against Bournemouth early on in the Carabao Cup in the second round. So they have won a game this season and won it quite comfortably as well. But obviously it means nothing now because they're out of the competition. So like I said, Everton need to make sure tomorrow that we're not the side that come and Norwich break their curse against. And I don't think it should be too difficult for Everton. Like I said, I don't particularly think we were dreadful against Aston Villa. I think we managed the game really, really well considering our injuries, and I think we had a bit of a mad spell of 10 or 15 minutes where we let everything go. Now, obviously, we are still without a lot of key players. Rafa Benitez has confirmed today that Jordan Pickford has been training and is okay, which is massive news, and Luca Dean is okay as well, obviously, after picking up that injury in midweek against QPR. So Jordan Pickford being back for me is massive. I think Asmir Begovic has done alright in the last couple of games, but he's shown that he's not at that level that Jordan Pickford's at. I think there's been a couple of situations that we've looked at over the last 2 games and thought if that was Jordan in goal, he would have dealt with them differently. Not saying we would have won the games that we haven't won. I'm not saying we'd have performed better, but I just feel like Jordan Pickford is a much better goalkeeper than Asmir Begovic, and that's why Asmir Begovic is a number 2. So having Jordan Pickford back is massive. Rafa Benitez did confirm that Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Seamus Coleman, Andre Gomez and Jean-Philippe Gbamin are all out injured, so we're still without our 2 strikers. He spoke heavily about that today, Rafa, in his press conference, heavily about how impactful it is to not have your 2 strikers and to have your 2 strikers out injured, and then your backup striker in Solomon Rondon being a player who isn't at that level of fitness that we need them to be at, and obviously is working hard and trying hard, but he's not at the level that Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison are at, certainly in regards to fitness. So very open and honest press conference today by Rafa Benitez. So Everton are still going into this game with a weakened squad. Of course we are. If we had Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, then we'd be sitting here saying this should be a walkover, and it never is a walkover with Everton, and I don't expect it to be a walkover tomorrow, but I still expect the likes of Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, who of course both had a really, really positive start to the season. I thought Andros Townsend was excellent in midweek, one of the only Everton players that could have walked off that pitch after the QPR game with his head held high. Luca Dean being back and that injury not being too serious is great as well. Hopefully the goal he scored against QPR will do him the world of confidence. Yerry Mina, I'm sure, will be straight back in, which is fantastic. I said that in the game review to the QPR game. For me, Everton haven't got one really good centre-back partnership that doesn't involve Yerry Mina. Every good centre-back partnership we have, Yerry Mina is a part of, and it almost seems like whether it's Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey, Mason Holgate, they all perform. They all are capable of performing really, really well. But it only seems to be when Yerry Mina is partnering them, when they're partnering with each other, i.e. Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane, or Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate, or Mason Holgate and Michael Keane. There doesn't seem to be a really good, really consistent centre-back partnership between them. But then obviously you put Yerry Mina in the mix, and all of a sudden, because Yerry Mina is our best defender, is our most comfortable defender, whoever's playing next to him automatically seems a lot better. So we've got Yerry Mina to come back in, obviously Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alan. So I think, like I said, the plethora of quality that Everton have got within the squad, albeit even given the injuries and even given the fitness problems that we've got. Obviously, we know we've lost James Rodriguez. He is gone. He's been sold, obviously, to Al Rayyan in Qatar. So no, he won't be available, of course. I still think we should have more than enough quality to go out and win this game. Plus, the home advantage as well. Back at Goodison Park, we saw how impactful the crowd was against Southampton on the opening game of the season, how big of a positive impact the crowd had when we went 1-0 down, getting back into the game earlier on in the second half. We saw how impactful the crowd was against Burnley as well in that 9-minute spell or 6-minute spell of madness when we scored 4 goals, 3 of them counting, and the crowd was up. And you've got likes of Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alan, coming out and saying, how amazing it is to play in front of the crowd, and the crowd really are the 12th man and drag the team forward and drag the team through poor performances. So I think the crowd tomorrow will play a big part in the results and hopefully in the performance and hopefully ultimately the result tomorrow afternoon. And like I said, we need to bounce back. It's not so much losing games, because we all know managers lose. Carlo Ancelotti said this on a number of occasions last season. It's not really about when you lose, it's about how you react to losing. It's not really about losing games of football, because no Premier League side, even the very best of the best, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, whatever, Barcelona at their peak, no team, well, certainly not in this day and age, will go through an entire season not losing a game of football. You will always lose games of football. Look at how Manchester City responded against Norwich when they lost to Tottenham on the opening game of the season. They bounced back out in front of their home crowd and blew Norwich away. This is what Everton need to do tomorrow. Everton need to react after a couple of really bad results. Not so much, well, the QPR game was a really bad performance, but in Villa's situation, like I said, I'll still defend that it wasn't the worst performance I've ever seen. It was an awful result, and you look at it on paper and you think 3-0 to Aston Villa, that's awful for Everton, but the performance wasn't actually what the scoreline sort of states, I suppose. The QPR game was dreadful. We were absolutely awful, and I think there was a lot of players that played in that game against QPR that won't feature tomorrow, simply because they're not good enough. Obviously, we know Andre Gomez is out injured. I highly doubt Tom Davies will be anywhere near the team tomorrow. Highly doubt John Joe Kenny will be anywhere near the team tomorrow. So, like I said, for me, we still should have more than enough quality to go out and win this game and win it comfortably. But ultimately, I don't care if we win it comfortably. You can say to me now, Cam, are you going to be happy even if we don't win 4-5-0? I'll take winning 1-0 and it coming off Ben Godfrey's arse in the last minute, or Mason Holgate's arse, or or the back of somebody's head, the back of a Norwich defender's head. I'll take any result as long as it's 3 points, because, as I said, as Rafa Benitez has mentioned and previous managers have mentioned, and it rings true, it's not necessarily, losing games and what happens when you lose. It's about how you react to losing. And this is what Everton have got to do. We didn't react very well on Tuesday to losing against Villa, albeit it was a change in squad and there was a lot of players in there that disappointed, let's be honest. There was a lot of squad players that got their opportunity on Tuesday that just looked like they weren't interested, looked like they weren't bothered, looked like they didn't care. And there'll be a lot of first teamers that go back in and have to respond to that result against Villa. And I'm confident tomorrow. I can't wait to get back to Goodison Park. I'm confident of the win. I'm confident of the performance, and I think if we bounce back, we get a positive result. Obviously, we go into the next few weeks. We've got a couple of difficult fixtures coming up. Manchester United at the start of next month, which is a really difficult fixture. We've got to go into that game, on a positive run of form. And like I said, let's not be the team that Norwich City look back at and go, oh, we got our first Premier League win in 17 games against Everton at Goodison Park. Let's not be that team. We've been in this situation before, not quite this situation, but we've been in a situation where people would deem it a must-win against Norwich a couple of seasons ago under Marco Silva, and we ended up losing. So let's not hope it's the same situation. But like I said, I just wanted to address that because I have seen and heard a couple of people saying, the pitchforks will be out for Rafa tomorrow if he doesn't win. Does he need to go this, that, and the other? No, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. If it was any other manager, we wouldn't be having those conversations. We'd be talking about bad form and how it needs to improve and why it needs to get better. But we wouldn't be sitting here having conversations about managers getting sacked 5 games into a Premier League season. It's just nonsense. Firstly, it's never going to happen. And secondly, it shouldn't happen either. But we need to win tomorrow. We absolutely need to win. Norwich have got some good players. They've got some talented players amongst their side. Obviously, the likes of Billy Gilmour on loan from Chelsea, of course. Really, really talented young lad. Don't know if he'll be fit or he'll play tomorrow, but really, really talented young player. He could cause Everton's midfield some real issues tomorrow if we don't... like I said, if we don't win that battle in midfield, I fully expect Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan to be strong enough to win that battle against the likes of Billy Gilmour, but... he's got quality, he's got skill, he's got ability. He can certainly make it very difficult for Everton if we're not, at our very best. I believe Todd Cantwell is out. I read before in the news that Todd Cantwell is out with an injury, which is good news for Everton because he obviously is a very talented footballer as well. They've got the likes of Brandon Williams on loan from Manchester United. Max Aarons, who of course Everton were heavily linked with in the summer. That never, amounted to anything, but heavy links between him and Everton. Timo Pukki, who of course we know if you give him an opportunity, more than often he will score goals. So if Norwich, this isn't a Norwich team to look at and go, we'll absolutely batter these tomorrow. There's no need to worry. This is a Norwich team that have got some genuine quality within their side. Yes, they mightn't be able to, find that chemistry between the players. And I think Daniel Farke's biggest issue is that, I suppose it's an issue, but it's also something that you'd probably respect Daniel Farke for a lot, and that's that he hasn't changed his style of play from being in the Championship to being in the Premier League. And I suppose that's why Norwich are quite clearly the best Championship team, or better than any other Championship team by a long stretch, but they're not quite as good as Premier League sides because they don't change their system. They'll still come up and try and go toe-to-toe with teams and try and outplay teams and outperform sides, and that won't work in the majority of games in the Premier League because the majority of Premier League sides will have better quality of players than what Norwich do. But Norwich will, like I said, they will pick up wins. Make no mistake, they'll win games this season. They'll pick up points when they come up against sides that don't battle as hard or don't want it as much or don't fight as hard or don't perform or look like they can't be bothered. And I just really, really hope that is in Everton tomorrow. They've got the likes of Timo Pukki up front who can score goals. As I just mentioned, then a couple of good young players that they've got on loan. Max Aarons, of course, who's good down that right-hand side. So certainly players that Everton have got to be careful of. Certainly players that Everton have got to be aware of going into tomorrow's game. I think we should have more than enough quality to win this game, and I think the home advantage will do us really well as well, coming off the back of a couple of defeats, because we like I said, we simply have to bounce back. Nothing less than 3 points is acceptable tomorrow. It isn't. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that big thumbs up button. It does only take a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Lost a few subscribers over the last couple of days or so, as expected, because a certain Colombian playmaker has left the football club, and look, I understand it. Said it time and time again, when you've got a player like James Rodriguez at your club, there will be a selection of fans that don't support Everton, they just support James Rodriguez. That's what happens when you get to a certain level in football. You have the fans of the club you're playing for supporting you, but you also have your own set of fans that'll follow you anywhere. So we have lost a few subscribers over the last couple of days. So if you are new and you're watching and you're an Evertonian and you're thinking, do you know what, I enjoy this, I like this is boss, lovely chat, we'll be getting in the comments and reading all the comments in a moment, then please hit that big thumbs up button and we'll try and boost boost those numbers again, because we are heading towards 5,000 subscribers. My aim is to hit 5,000 subscribers by Christmas. It was to hit it by my birthday, but my birthday's in about a month or so, so I'm not sure whether we'll hit it by then. But my aim is to hit it at least by Christmas, and obviously I know we'll lose subscribers because of the hammer stuff, so if you're watching and you're enjoying and you're new, please hit that big thumbs up button. And if you know somebody that might enjoy the content and you might want to share it out on Twitter, social media. Let's get as many people involved as we possibly can. Let's get into some of the live comments then and read. I've got a couple of videos going up over the next couple of days as well. Got a Minnesota video going up tonight. Me and Gort sat down once again and chatted about Minnesota United in the MLS, how they're doing, what's going on. Obviously Adrian Heath managing them, and we've got another episode of the Park End podcast coming up over the next couple of days. I was joined by Cornet for this episode. If you've been a subscriber to the channel, a viewer of the channel for a long time, you'll know Cornet. He is a blue from South Africa. Told us his story, talked us through his feelings when Ancelotti left, James coming in to where we are now with Rafa Benitez, and obviously the signings this summer. That'll be going up over the next couple of days. I still need to do a bit of editing on it, but it's all recorded and near enough ready to go, so that will be up very, very shortly as well, so look out for that. And then obviously we'll have all of the post-game content tomorrow, instant match reaction, player ratings, game review on Monday, all of that good stuff as well. So loads of content coming up. So if you are new, please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like as well. Z says, sup man, what's happening Z? Hope you're doing well, my mate. Jake says, alright Cam, hope you're well. Tricky game Saturday, but even with the injuries, think we should be able to beat Norwich. We need to start getting more clean sheets. It is a tricky game, as I've said. Norwich are very much a caged animal, and by that what I mean is this is a side who have been promoted to the Premier League. Forget they're not winning a Premier League game for 15, 16 games, because I think that takes into consideration the last time they were in the Premier League, which is important, I suppose, because it's a stat that they'll want to get rid of. But forget that for the moment. They're a side that have been promoted to the Premier League, will desperately try and stay in the league this season, because that's what obviously every club's aim is when you get promoted. They won't want to go down and come back up again, and they're looking for their first win of the season. So forget past records or history or whatever. Norwich have played 5 games this season and lost all 5. They'll be hungry for their first win. They'll be wanting to come to Goodison, and they'll understand that Everton might have better quality of players than they have. They'll understand that Everton might have the home advantage, but they'll be coming thinking, well, if we battle, if we fight, if we work hard, if we want it more than the Everton players do, then we could come away with something in this game. And they're absolutely spot on to think like that. If they want this more than those Everton players do tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if they come away with a result. And that's why these Everton players have to look at this game and think, right, we need to show that we want this, as if we're playing Liverpool in the Merseyside derby, as if we're playing Manchester City at the Etihad, not last season, no, because they didn't show they wanted it then, as if we're playing in a Champions League final. We need to show that we want it as much, if not more, than they do. And if we do that, we'll comfortably win this game, in my opinion. But it's about doing that. And I agree, by the way, with your second point, mate. We do need to start keeping more clean sheets. Hopefully, now Jordan Pickford's back, we will start to see that. I think he's a much more assured goalkeeper than Asmir Begovic. James has gone, says Z. Yes, he has gone. Spoke about that in a video on Wednesday night. Remy says, Cam lad, hey everybody, hi mate, how you doing? Are people mad? Rafa is without doubt the man for the job right now. Well, look, again, we have to take injuries into consideration. We have to take the squad depth, fitness of players and stuff like that. Rafa even admitted today, even the likes of Damari Gray and Josh Townsend, they're great players and they're doing really well, but we have to be careful because they're getting to the stage where they're playing too much football now, because they're playing every single game, and we know that. We know that that's the case. Jason says, hi Cam, hi everybody. Hi Jason, hope you're well. Wimmy says, think we will be okay. We will have Alan and Decor in the midfield. We'll handle Norwich. Just pray them to stay fit. Yes, me too, mate. Jason says we should beat Norwich tomorrow. Norwich's problem is they're too good for the Championship and not good enough to stay in the Premier League. Yeah, I'd agree. Just said that, mate. I would agree. Dave says, anyone got a spare jerry can? I want to buy loads of petrol. I don't need because I'm a fool. Yeah, there's petrol shortages at the moment, isn't he? Because of, I don't know, is it something to do with the HGV drivers? I don't know. I just know that there's a bit of madness going on and everyone's fuming and the petrol stations are all booming. So I don't drive personally, so it doesn't affect me. But I hope it doesn't affect anybody else negatively as well. I hope everyone's okay and got enough petrol and diesel to last them what they need. And don't be going and overbuying, by the way. Dave says, Rafa's doing well in my opinion. Could have been much worse with how the summer went. Yeah, I would agree. GTE says, true mate, but our paper thin squad is worrying. It is. Basic says, yeah, I need to fill my car up because that will last till Christmas. Martin says, anyone else have problems on the EFC live stream at 1:30 today? Yeah, Everton have massive problems because you know that Everton said Basic Sig. And Wayme says, yeah, there's sound with Jack. Yeah, there was sound issues. JT says we're sounding for 14 minutes. Yeah, there was sound issues. Basically, like you said, Everton can't even sort the podcast out without there being massive issues with the sound. So yeah, sound issues, but it ended up working in the end, didn't it? Billy says, I'm glad we're out the cup. We haven't got a big enough squad as it is, so for me, this can only be a good thing. Up the toffees, 3-0 Everton. Let's hope so. Whammy says, of course, it would have been nice if Gbamin had managed a few games before he was injured again. And Martin says, I was chatting in the live chat on my own. Yeah, in regards to Gbamin, it's sad. It is sad. Obviously, Rafa Benitez confirmed today that himself, as in John Philip Gbamin, and Andre Gomez, slipped me man, and Andre Gomez will both be unavailable for tomorrow's game through injury. In regards to Gbamin, it's sad. It's sad because this is a lad who obviously has had absolutely no luck whatsoever when it comes to injuries since joining Everton Football Club. Has spent pretty much his entire Everton career out injured. Think he had a baby during lockdown as well in a new country. So it's been a real difficult, turbulent few years for Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and I can't help but have any other emotion other than sympathy for him. I really, really can't have any other emotion other than sympathy because, you know, the lad isn't getting injured on purpose. The lad isn't purposely not wanting to play. He wants to play football. You know, you can clearly see he wants to be playing in the Premier League. He wants to be impacting Everton. He didn't have a bad injury record at Mainz. I think he'd been injured a couple of times in the space of his entire career at Mainz. And he's come to Everton, and in the 3 years that he's been here, he's been struck with injury after injury after injury after injury, and it's horrible. It's horrible to see because no player deserves that, and no player should have that, you know, wished upon him. And all I can say is I hope that he recovers well, and I hope to see him back in an Everton shirt shortly because, like I said, it's massively, massively sad to see. If you're enjoying, by the way, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. It only takes a second if you're new to the channel. Leave a like. Only takes a second. Get involved in the live comments. We will be getting back in the live comments very, very shortly. Anyway, let's get into my predicted starting 11 then. Obviously, Rafa Benitez had his pre-game press conference today. As I said earlier, he confirmed that Luca Dean and Jordan Pickford are back in training and that, I quote, okay. Whether that means okay to start, whether that means he's just asked them how they are and he went, yeah, I'm dead sound, I don't know. But Rafa Benitez quoted they're okay and in training, so we can take that as an assumption that they're okay, as in available for selection. Rafa Benitez did then confirm that Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Andre Gomez, Seamus Coleman and Jean-Philippe Gbamin will all miss tomorrow's game through injury. So let's get into my predicted starting 11 then. In goal, straight back in, I'm going for Jordan Pickford. As I said before, I think Asmir Begovic has done alright over the last couple of games. I think he's made a couple of mistakes that Jordan wouldn't make, if I'm being honest. And listen, that's easy to say. Of course it's easy to say because it's hindsight and it's, you know, maybes and if buts and all of that sort of stuff. So it's very, very easy to sit here and say Asmir Begovic has made a number of mistakes that Jordan Pickford wouldn't make. Easy to say that. But I do genuinely feel like Jordan is a level above Asmir Begovic. And Asmir Begovic is a good backup goalkeeper, a decent backup goalkeeper who'll be able to fill in if need be, when need be. Now, he's filled in when he's needed to be. Jordan's back now. Jordan's the number one goalkeeper. There's no reason for Jordan Pickford to not start this game if he's fit to do so. He, like I said, for me, is a level above Asmir Begovic, and that's nothing against Asmir Begovic. We knew that anyway when he come in to the club. So for me, Jordan Pickford goes straight back in. Like I said, if he's fit, if he's 100% fit and he's ready, then he goes straight back into the starting 11 for me. I think he's had a really good start to the season before his injury. Made some crucial saves. And like I said, really continued his form from the back end of last season when he was absolutely brilliant as well. So Jordan Pickford goes in goal for me. Backline, left back, I'm going for Luca Dean again. Very similar situation. Rafa Benitez today confirming that he is okay and in training, so I'm going to take that as that he's fit and available to start this game. Not like we've got any other option to play at left back, to be honest. If Rafa would have come out today and said that Luca Dean isn't fit, I'd have probably had to say I think Ben Godfrey will play at left back because he's the only other option that we've got. And to anybody that wants to suggest John Joe Kenny playing at left back, I genuinely would cry. But no, Luca Dean's fit according to the manager. Obviously, he had a little knock against QPR. Hopefully, that's all sorted. Hopefully, he's back at 110%. As I said before, I think the goal against QPR on Tuesday will do him the world of good in regards to confidence. He had a poor game against Aston Villa, made a couple of silly mistakes, and he can't afford to do that on tomorrow afternoon against Norwich. So hopefully the goal, as I said, against QPR will do him the world of good. I actually thought he performed really well against QPR as well, which was a positive. So for me, Luca Dean is back in at left back, or in at left back, because he was never out, was he really? Two centre backs. I'm going for Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey. Yerry Mina has to be in there, no doubt in my mind. Yerry Mina has to be in there. As I said before, and I've said on a couple of occasions now, Everton don't seem to have a decent centre-back partnership without Yerry Mina being in there. You can put Yerry Mina next to Mason Holgate, you can put him next to Ben Godfrey, you can put him next to Michael Keane, and all of a sudden, every player that he seems to be next to performs an awful lot better than what they do when he's not there. And as I said, when you take Yerry Mina out the equation, there's not one centre-back pairing that I'm confident with, and that's from the bottom of my heart. Even Ben Godfrey, who I think is a really good centre-half and typically really consistent, I just don't think there's any other player he can play next to where he plays as well as to when he plays with Yerry Mina. And obviously, taking into consideration, Ben Godfrey is only just returning from injury. He's been out, he's been, struggling with COVID and isolation and all of this and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm going with Yerry Mina straight back in there, no doubt. And I am actually going to partner him with Ben Godfrey. I think Ben is clearly the one of our two best centre-backs at the club. I think he's more consistent than Michael Keane. I think he's more consistent than Mason Holgate. And he obviously needs the match fitness as well. Now, the manager might take him out because obviously he played against Norwich. He played against QPR and he played against Aston Villa the week before. So the manager might take him out in order to give him a little bit of a rest, obviously. But I think he needs the match fitness. He got exposed heavily at right back against Aston Villa the week before. And again, he was at fault for Charlie Austin's second goal against QPR as well. So I think the more and more he plays, the more he'll keep himself up to date with match fitness, and the better he will be for that. So I'm going for Ben Godfrey next to Yerry Mina. At right back, I'm going for Mason Holgate. Obviously, there's not many options here. We know Seamus Coleman's out. The manager's confirmed that Seamus Coleman is out injured. So you look at your other options, and you've got John Joe Kenny, you've got Mason Holgate, and you've got Ben Godfrey, I suppose, who could potentially play there now. And that's, again, I'm not looking at right wing backs because I just don't think we should be going anywhere near a 5 at the back formation against Norwich at Goodison Park. No disrespect to Norwich again, but that would be ridiculous in my opinion. So that, disregarding Alex Iwobi playing right wing back or Anzos Townsend playing right wing back, you've got Mason Holgate, you've got John Joe Kenny, and you've got Ben Godfrey. Now, Ben Godfrey was heavily exposed at right back last week against Aston Villa. He was at fault for the third goal. He allowed Leon Bailey far too much space to run into, and he was absolutely nowhere. He also struggled at right back. The Villa game, he started really well in the first half, getting forward, creating chances, but then the second half, he like I said, he was exposed. John Joe Kenny is just nowhere near good enough. Again, nothing against the lad. I'm sure he's a genuinely decent fella, and I'm sure he could go and have a footballing career elsewhere, whether that be at a championship club, whether that be in a different country, whether that be at a different Premier League side. But he's just nowhere near good enough for Everton. He was exposed heavily by a centre midfielder playing on the wing against QPR, young Willock, who just had him on toast all day. Didn't stop one cross coming into the box, couldn't defend, his positioning was awful. So John Joe Kenny, I think, is nowhere near good enough, even against a poor Norwich side. I think John Joe Kenny would be exposed heavily, and I think if he was to play, Norwich would target that right-hand side. I think Norwich would look at it and go, right, okay, we need to do absolutely anything in our power to get our first win of the season, target that right-hand side, because that lad is a weak spot. So, for me, it leaves us up with only one option, and that's Mason Holgate. Yes, he's not ideal, because with Mason, I think the balance of the side is slightly off, because with Luca Dean, you're going to have a left back who's getting forward, throwing crosses into the box, trying to create chances. You're not going to get that with Mason Holgate. You're going to get much more of a defensive performance. But I just think he looked comfortable at times at right back last season. Obviously, when we played that sort of 4 centre-backs across the back line at Christmas last season, he looked really good. He's played at right back before and looked solid as well. And like I said, we haven't got many other options. But even without the option situation, I think Mason is more than capable of doing a good enough job against a Norwich side tomorrow at Goodison Park at right back. So I've gone with Mason Holgate at right back. Into the midfield then, I've gone with sort of 2 defensive midfielders and then a sort of number 10, if you like. I've gone with Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan back in as the centre midfielders. Obviously, both were given a rest against QPR on Tuesday. Abdoulaye Doucouré ended up coming on towards the last 15-20 minutes of the game, which I wasn't particularly pleased about, but there you go, he come on. Alan will be straight back in there. I think he was poor against Villa. I think he struggled against Villa, but one thing I've noticed about Alan is in both games we've played at Goodison Park so far this season, and to be fair, the game against Leeds and the game against Brighton, but specifically the 2 games at Goodison Park, I think he's been absolutely immense. I think he really, really, really thrives off that energy, thrives off the crowd, thrives off the emotion, thrives off the atmosphere and the feeling of Goodison Park. So for me, Alan has to be in there straight away. Like I said, I think he's, other than the Villa game, I think he's had a really good start to the season. And then Abdoulaye Doucouré next to him, pretty self-explanatory. He brings the energy, he brings that ability to get around the pitch, scored a beautiful goal against Southampton on the opening game of the season. Very unlucky to not score against Burnley last week at Goodison as well. Obviously, that was disallowed, inches offside. So I think he's playing with loads of confidence. He's playing with loads of momentum at the moment. And yeah, like I said, I think he's had a good start to the season. So Abdoulaye Doucouré, partners Alan, pardon me, a little bit of a chest problem. I've tested negative, so I'm all good. Just the fact that I haven't had a drink of water for about an hour. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that big thumbs up button. It only takes a second, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe as well. And then in front of them, I've gone for Alex Iwobi in the number 10. Now, again, obviously, no Richarlison, no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, no James Rodriguez. Evidently, he's left the club. Alex Iwobi didn't impress me the other day against QPR. It has to be said, he didn't impress me whatsoever. I thought he was really, really poor. I thought it was a great opportunity against QPR on Tuesday for Alex Iwobi to snatch the game with both hands and just completely dominate and almost show Rafa Benitez, look, this is what I can do. And he should have been doing that. Again, no disrespect to QPR, and you can call me bitter and whatever. No disrespect to QPR, but that's exactly what Alex Iwobi should have been doing. He should have been snatching that game with both hands and dominating, and he didn't. He had spells where he looked okay. He had spells where he looked like he was involved, but he had far too many spells where he wasn't involved, where he wasn't picking the ball up, where he wasn't getting on the ball. And maybe that's just because the game bypassed him a little bit. Maybe that's because he didn't feel like the players around him were performing well enough. I don't know. I think he'll play tomorrow. I do. I think the only other option is to drop maybe Damari Gray into that other midfield area and play, Anthony Gordon on the wing, or to play with 2 up front and have Damari Gray as another striker. And I don't think the manager will do that. Maybe he will, but maybe I don't think he will. So I do think Alex Iwobi will play tomorrow. And if he does play, again, this is another perfect opportunity for him to go out and show why he is head and shoulders. Forget Everton players. Forget, if Alex Iwobi's watching this, and he's definitely not watching this, by the way, but forget showing that you're head and shoulders better than any Everton player on the pitch. Forget showing that you're head and shoulders better than any Manchester United player or any Manchester City or any Arsenal player. Go out there and show us why you're head and shoulders better than any Norwich player on that pitch tomorrow. Go out there, pick the ball up, take players on, get shots on goal, get in the right area, cross the ball. But Alex Iwobi, with the ball at his feet, is a very, very, very good technical footballer. I've said it once and I'll say it again. He's very frustrating and his final ball needs improving massively. But with the ball at his feet, in regards to dribbling, he is arguably the best at the club at doing that. The players had a video, didn't he, that went out a couple of months ago, and they were asked about who the most skillful player is on the training pitch, and 99% of the squad, without fail, without hesitation, said Alex Iwobi straight away. Alex Iwobi, Alex Iwobi, Alex Iwobi. And that says something. I know you could say, oh, that's just the players bigging up the mate, but it's not. That's obviously the players seeing something in training that we're not seeing on a match day, that we're not seeing on a Saturday afternoon. And I think consistency is a big issue for Alex Iwobi. I think he fades in and out of games. I think he loses concentration. But I also think confidence is a big thing as well. I think sometimes he picks the ball up and you can visibly see in his expressions, you can visibly see in his body language that he doesn't want to take a player on. He doesn't want to, get past the play. He just wants to pass it. He just wants the easy option. And in other times you see it where he picks the ball up and he's lightning. He's taking it round players with ease. He's knocking the ball round players. And yes, there's elements to improve. His final product needs to improve. Of course it does. And like I said, that inability to stay in a Premier League game, stop fading in and out of games. Stop, having 10 minutes where you're not even involved and you're sort of just standing around looking at the crowd. Constantly be in the game. Make yourself in the game. If you're not in the game, put yourself in the game. If you're not picking up the ball, go and pick up the ball. Make yourself involved if you're not being involved. Show us as fans why you deserve your opportunity in this Everton side. And because I think technically he's got it. I just think he doesn't show it enough. For whatever reason, I don't think he shows it enough. And I think he'll start tomorrow, Alex Iwobi. And if he does, like I said, I really hope he shows why he's head and shoulders better than any of those Norwich players. Because he's not going to get many more of these opportunities. He's not. And then, obviously, as a front three, I'm going with Demarai Gray on the right-hand side, Andros Townsend on the left, and Solomon Rondon up front. I was very, very tempted to start Anthony Gordon in this game because I thought he was really, really good the other night against QPR. Thought Andros Townsend was man of the match. Obviously got a goal and got an assist and worked tirelessly in the first half, battling defensively. But I thought a very, very close contender was Anthony Gordon. He worked hard, he got forward, he played a couple of nice balls across the box. He got a couple of shots off, which, like I said, on another day might have went in the back of the net and done his confidence a world of good. But he also battled, he worked hard. He didn't, typically with Anthony Gordon, his problem never usually is getting forward or being involved going forward. It's the, again, a little bit like Alex Iwobi, it's the phasing out of games when you've got to do the defensive work. It's the not really wanting to get back and throw the tackles in or battle or show his physicality, whereas I think he did do that on Tuesday against QPR. Do I think he's ready to start in a Premier League game? He may well be very soon, for the mere fact that we may well have no players in the next couple of weeks. And maybe, like I said, Benitez will start him tomorrow and give him that opportunity and use it as an opportunity to rest, one of the other players, maybe, I don't know, a Rondon or somebody. And sort of use that, pardon me, by the way, and use that as a chance to say to Anthony Gordon, look, you're going to start, this is your chance, Premier League game against, bottom of the table, 5 losses on the bounce, go and show why you should be, you should be involved in this Everton side. Maybe that'll be the case. I don't think it will. I think he'll start on the bench, but I do think he'll feature tomorrow. I do think he'll get some game time. So I've gone with, as I said, Andros Townsend on the right. I think he's been brilliant so far this season. Fantastic against Burnley last time out at Goodison, of course. Scored that absolute worldie. Really good in midweek against QPR. I thought he bounced back well with a goal and a really good assist as well. I think he's had a fantastic start to the season. Demarai Gray, who of course we've seen very briefly against QPR, but again, really good positive start to the season. Hopefully he can get another goal under his belt. And then Solomon Rondon up front. I want more from Solomon Rondon, if I'm being honest. I understand that he's not fit. I understand that it's a bit of a struggle for him and he's been thrown in massively at the deep end because of injuries we've had to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, but I want more tomorrow. He's had a couple of games now to try and get up to that match fitness. I don't expect him to be fully there tomorrow, but I want him to battle, I want him to fight, I want him to put his body in the way, I want him to put his body on the line effectively, use his physicality, use his power, use his ability as a big target man centre forward to cause Norwich issues tomorrow. Even if he's not directly scoring or creating goals, use his physicality to cause issues to Norwich, and hopefully he can do that. Hopefully he also will feed off the crowd and the momentum and the energy as well. So there you go, that is my predicted start 11. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're watching live, get your thoughts in the live comments. We're going to get involved with them in a second. If you're watching a YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below and we will get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. If you're enjoying, leave a like. Pardon me, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe as well. Anyway, let's get into the live comments before we finish up. Where were we? We're going to try and make sure that we're not missing out on any of the comments. Billy said, I'm glad without the coverage we haven't got a big enough squad. 3-0 Sophie. I was chatting on my own in the live stream, says Martin. Jay-Z says, hi, I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow. Demarai great to be on fire. Demarai predictive text. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope he can add to his goal tally. And ultimately, again, Demarai Gray should be able to show his quality tomorrow as well. He should be able to show that, hopefully he's he's a level above the opposition. Basic says, hey Cam, are our injured players going away to play international games and is Rondon doing extra other than playing 2 games in 4 days or some other stupid questions? There you go, mate. I know, ridiculous, isn't it? I can't believe the manager come out and said that these select players will be out for a number of weeks, and then he was asked the question, well, will they go on international duty? Well, no, they won't go on international duty because they're not fit, because they're injured. I sort of get that question because there's been times before when Everton players have been injured And then, they haven't played for 3 to 4 weeks. We've had a game before the international break, and they're not ready yet. They're not fit. They're still, they're still injured. And then it gets to the international break the next week, and they're starting for the country. So I get it, but I like the way Rafa Benitez sort of come out and said, no, they're not. Absolutely not. They're not going away. They're not ready. Because we have seen it before. The Rondon stuff is ridiculous. Obviously, he's training. Obviously, he's working with the team, and that's what will get his fitness up as well. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Wayne says, I like that you said the Mari as your PHM was Denmark. Wayne says, yes, Cam, hopefully we can win the weekend. Let's hope so, mate. Martin says, I did hear Rafa say no chance that any players going away for international duty in the press conference. He was talking about the injured players. He wasn't talking about any player in general. He was talking about specifically Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Seamus Coleman. So yeah, there you go. Celtic Vapes, after the QPR performance, they need to... I don't know if I can even use that phrase anymore, but there you go. I do think Rafa's being dealt a bad hand, and he's lucky that Townsend and Gray are doing the business. They are doing the business so far. They are, I'd agree. Basic says, yeah, I thought it was a massively stupid question by a journalist. I'd agree, to be honest, it was. Jason says, maybe finishing 8th to 12th isn't a bad thing for this season, especially seeing how next season could figure out all Europe games, group games, by November, and then 22 games between Boxing Day and the end of May. Yeah, spot on. Wayne says we got nothing for James, but we got a nominal fee, I believe, but the biggest thing is we're not paying him 200 grand a week now. I've seen some rumours going around that we're still paying his wages. We're not paying his wages. Why would we be paying his wages when he's left on a permanent? Are you enjoying Rafa's presses, says Cals? I do, yeah, I am. Martin says, I read somewhere, but can't remember where, we got 8 million for him, not sure if it's 2 or we double that to spend. I think the 8 million comes from how much we're saving from his wages, rather than it being a fee, as a transfer fee. Not surprising with Gray and Townsend, really, they are proper wingers. We'll look at the difference it makes with wingers this season. We were all crying out for wingers last season, and look at the difference it makes having wingers. Basic says, give this team a like. Chat, people, thank you very much. Basic, if you could hit that thumbs up button, it would mean a great deal to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. That only takes a second. That's what I thought, no pound, but the 8 million may be saving from paying his wages till the end of the season, no info from the club ever, says Martin. I believe that is the case. There may still have been a fee, but I believe that's where the 8 million number seems to have come from. Sue says, Martin, they lied about James in the first place, so they'll probably never know. Whammy says, I know, Cam, what about Rondon's 6 Venezuelan fans? I think he's got more than that, mate. I think he's got more than that. Big country, Venezuela, big country. Hi to any Venezuelans watching, by the way. Hope you're all doing really, really well. Martin says, when's the next Ned and Cam chat while I'm out? I'm going to speak to Ned about it. We've had a bit of a busy few weeks. Just doing loads of various different things, obviously, with the start of the season. So I'm going to talk to Ned. We're going to try and get them done virtually, so we can do more of them. But leave it with me, and I'll speak to him about it. Carl says, Norwich a relegation fodder. No point over complicating it and putting the Everton mentality to bed on paper. We should smash these, and we will. Let's hope so, mate. I would agree. I agree, says JT. 2, mate. I'm going 5-2 Everton. I'd love that. Fight prediction, says Wayne. I assume you're talking about Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. I'm going for Joshua in the 7th round, but a tough fight, and I think Usyk will make it really difficult for him. Drew says 4 Premier League games on an international break and the players are knackered. Is Gbamin related to Delph, says Wayne? I don't think so. Wayne says the shame is we all knew, only the board seemed confused. We knew Coleman would be injured and Kenny was not good enough. We knew letting Nkunku go was madness. We knew the squad was 2 or 3 injuries away from problems, and recruitment buried its head in the sand and hung Rafa out to dry. Really interesting point. Tony Allen says, great show, Cam. Cheers, Tony. Really appreciate that, my mate. Glad you're enjoying. Abigail says, Gomez being out makes our squad depth even worse. What is Gomez injured now? According to Rafa Benitez, Andre Gomez and Jean-Philippe Gbamin are both unavailable for tomorrow's game through injury, so there you go. Benitez confirms, says Toothy. Martin says, is it just me or does Dean look like the Fonzie from Happy Days in the photo behind Cam? I excuse my arrogance, but I don't even know who the Fonzie is. I know Happy Days are a band, and they had the guy from Gogglebox on. What's his name? Can't remember his name. They're famous. They're a Mank band, aren't they? But again, Manchester band. Don't even know if I can say Mank. JT says, Cam singles the Luca Dean song. I'm not going to sing, mate. I can't believe Gbamin is injured again and Delph has been injured for this long. It's so pathetic. I'm not 100% convinced Delph's injured, to be honest with you. I just think he can't be arsed. Gbamin is obviously injured. any of the women we signed can play right back on midfield. Probably better than some of the other players that can play there, I'll tell you that. Delph's blagging, let's be fair, injured his shoulder for 2 months. JT says, Alan does so much work, he is quality, I agree. Wimmy says, wish he would teach Tom how to actually give the ball in a tackle. Give up with the Wobie, should have been a standout in that game, and it was back to terrible decision making to Wobie. Well, let's hope that if he starts tomorrow, he can show his quality. Let's hope that. Cam, you been adding more tats, lad? Says Wayne, not yet. I've got another one in the pipeline, hopefully, but not yet. Since, well, I don't know, I think November last year was the last time I had a tattoo. Dancing doesn't get you goals though. Wobie's brainless, says Wormy. It's a good point. That's why he needs to improve on that final product. And I don't know whether it's a confidence issue. I don't know what it is, but he's got it. He's got something. Just needs to show it more often. It's definitely a consistency issue. JT says Rondon will get his first goal at the old lady tomorrow. Let's hope so. Harsh by Wayne, suggesting that Wobie should retire. I think that's harsh. Abigail says at least get rid of James Rodriguez off the books. Rafa said we can buy players in January. Well, we have. Wayne says Townsend played of the season. Can't fault him. We need 11 Townsend on the pitch. Well, it's only 5 games in, so we can't do player of the season. But he has had a really good start. Obviously, the Longstaff rumours Wayne's talked about as well. Wimmy says Gordon needs to go out on loan. He was okay against QPR, but I wouldn't say he was clearly above that level. I would agree. Well, maybe it's just a bit of confidence with him. Maybe he plays tomorrow. He comes off the bench and you see him actually performing against Norwich as well. Maybe it was just needing that confidence. Calm lying about his age again. Can't be 21. I'm 23 this year. Next month I'm 23, so there you go. Ned is 21 on Sunday. If you want to wish him a happy birthday. Wayme says Brands is pretty useless in the January transfer window. Needs a buck. Well, we ultimately we have to do business in January. We have to do business. We have to improve the squad if we're going to want to have a good end to the season. If you're enjoying, by the way, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Stephen says, play Gray down the middle with Gordon and Townsend either side. Interesting. Andrew says, damn, I'm getting tired of unfollowing all the Everton social media related sites. Bye, guys. Hope you win the Premier. There you go. Sorry about that. I'm not surprised. Cheers for your support, Andres. And I'm sorry that you don't want to watch anymore. Good luck with that, says Wayme. Martin says, sorry Cam, Happy Days, the TV show, American TV show from the 70s with Henry Winkler as Fonzie, and Ron Howard, the director, as a young actor. There you go. I didn't know that, mate. Didn't know that. The Verve, says Wayme. That's the Verve, yeah. And Abigail says Longstaff is worse than Davis. I would actually agree. To be honest, I would agree. Anyway, look. Martin says, happy 21st, Ned. Let's hope the boys give you a birthday win tomorrow. I'm going for a pint with him tomorrow before the game, so I'll pass him your message. Anyway, look. Big game on tomorrow, of course. Must win. Not in regards to the season or the manager or anything like that. Just must win because we're playing a side that we should be comfortably beating at Goodison Park. And like I said, if we're wanting to be taken as a serious team that are seriously in contention of challenging for Europe or doing more than just being a bang mid-table side, then we need to be going and beating sides like Norwich at Goodison Park. Don't forget, by the way, if you have enjoyed this one, please hit that big thumbs up button. Once again, massive thank you to everybody in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. If you watch us a YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as possible. As I said, a couple of videos going up over the next couple of days. The Minnesota video and the Park End podcast, the latest episode of that, episode number 7, I believe it is. And then we will be back with the instant match reaction and the player ratings tomorrow as well after the game against Norwich. So look out for those instantly after the full-time whistle. Big game. Let's hope we can bounce back. Let's hope we can get all 3 points. And I just can't wait to get back to Goodison. Get me back to Goodison Park. Massive thank you to everybody for watching. Really do appreciate it. Wayne says respect, bud. Have a good weekend, Blues. Thank you very much, you too, Wayne. If you've enjoyed this one, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the YouTube comments if you watch the YouTube video as well. Massive thank you all for watching. And we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.